Hey everybody, Isocat here, coming to you today with a new topic regarding movement and pacing. So recently they announced that as a result of the feedback that was received, they were going to slow down movement by 20% across the board. And I think that's a really interesting dynamic to add into the mix because some people were thinking that movement was happening a little too fast. We had seen the introduction of sprinting, which had not been a part of previous Rainbow Six entries, and now things are happening a little faster. We have these 3-minute round timers. The pacing is pretty quick. You would see things like people would make rush plays because the time was running out. They had 30 seconds left or 20 seconds left on the clock, so they would rush into a room to try to get the hostage or take out the other team, and it was creating situations where people were doing things they might not have otherwise done just because they just didn't have enough time to do everything they were trying to do. So my question to you guys is, what do you think about that? Do you think that movement speed being reduced by 20% is a good thing? Or do you think it should have been kept the way it was? And I think that, from my personal opinion, it's a good thing. I enjoy the slower, more methodical gameplay of the older Rainbow Six titles. I think that slower pacing is what set it apart from some of the other twitch reflex-based shooters that are out there, especially today as that's becoming more and more of a trend. That will help Rainbow Six stand apart and be something of a bit of a breath of fresh air. The other thing that's good to see is that they said they were considering increasing the round timer length. I think that if you're going to slow people's movement down by that 20%, you've got to give them more time to react. And as it was, we were seeing people reacting in these rush plays when the objective needed to be captured before the time ran out. So if you're going to slow them down, give them more time. That just makes sense. Another thing that's going to affect the movement speed is they're introducing armor categories. These were not available for a demonstration during the alpha gameplay, but they said that what they were going to do was have a light, medium, and heavy armor category. This would affect your movement, so medium armor would have a neutrally encumbered movement speed. Light armor would allow you to move faster but leave you more vulnerable, and heavy armor would of course protect you more but leave you to move more slowly. By how much, we're not exactly sure. We haven't had a chance to play with this yet to see what it's like, and they haven't shared what the percentage values on those are. Some things they did share the percentage values with, though, they gave an example of a riot shield would have a 30% reduction in movement due to the weight of carrying that, or that a light machine gun would have a 25% reduction of your movement speed. I don't know if these things stack with the armor rating and contribute to how your movement is handled or not. They may not. So, if you have a riot shield with a 30% reduction in movement speed, and you're wearing heavy armor, are you then going to be at a further 20% reduction? So a 50 or 55% reduction in speed, which is then on top of the 20% reduction across the board. How exactly is this kind of all coming into the mix together? It'll be interesting to see the way they do that. I hope that they handle it appropriately so that it's well balanced and you're not too crippled. I don't want to have people in heavy armor being so slow to move that they're almost ineffective. And I don't want to see people with fast armor zipping all over the place so that they're so hard to hit in relation to everybody else. I would prefer to see somewhat modest changes in movement speed between light and heavy armor classes, because you don't want to render people ineffective or too effective as far as their mobility is concerned. So we'll see how they balance that. The other thing that I would like to see that they don't do is oftentimes in current first-person shooters, they'll slow your encumbrance when you're using a heavy weapon, but then when you switch weapons, you magically have faster movement speed. How does this work exactly? If I'm carrying a light machine gun and I swap to my pistol, all of a sudden I'm sprinting and running faster, or did I just, shove the light machine gun in my pocket and therefore I'm no longer encumbered? How does that work exactly? I really hope Rainbow Six doesn't do that with their movement. So it'll be interesting to see the way some of those things all come together. So what are your guys' thoughts on the slower movement speed and pacing? Is that a good thing? Or would you prefer they kept it the way it was in the alpha? Discuss down below in the comments, or head on over to the subreddit and you can talk about it more there, or into the forums as well. Also, like and subscribe if you want to see more videos. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.